for him to have such level of confidence, I said, I think it's now time to go back to ICT, you know. And then I started to intensively study ICT, and I'm still studying, you know. And it started to make a lot of sense, you know.
Mm.
All systems work, but some systems work better than others. I know
Yeah.
this may ruffle some feathers, but the truth is, you know, ICT works better than so many other systems.
We've got Oufa from London, who was a businessman who went through broke and then kept blowing accounts, but finally made it and got a 7K payout. Not only that, he rejected ICT, not just to go back into it. And it's an amazing story to understand his ICT journey and how he got funded from there. So enjoy the video, guys, and let's get started. Oufa, how's it going, man? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Everything is good. I
That's
can't
good. That's
complain.
no, that's it. That's it. So if you could
Yeah.
just do a short introduction, your name, where you're from, and anything else you want to say to the people.
Okay. My name is Ofo Aula. I'm from Nigeria. I live in London. Uh, I was introduced to, I won't say I was introduced to forex trading. I actually got into forex trading through critical thinking.
Oh,
I know
critical
that
thinking.
sounds amazing.
Yeah, that's
That
really
sounds
interesting.
absurd, right? Yeah. I joined during COVID. You know, I was exposed to forex trading during COVID, but not in the conventional way. Um, During COVID, obviously, I was seeing videos on YouTube which says if you have not used this time, you know, the lockdown time when we're all at home and all that, if you've not used this time to learn a new skill, then you know you'll probably regret the opportunity of staying at home, you know, and not having any new skill. So I kept thinking, and I'm a businessman. I have what you call conventional business. I have a drilling outfit in two countries, in Nigeria and Cameroon. And obviously, the COVID period stopped our operations, you know, and I had to come to London to join my wife. And I was just sitting at home and I started thinking, how can I convert my education and skills into profit?
Mm,
You know, I studied accounting and I did a master's of business administration in Dubai from KU Leuven, a university from Belgium. And I started wondering, you know,
wow.
how can I, because I strongly believe that you can convert anything into money, you know, even if it's sand, even if it's laughter,
Water. Do you know what I mean?
water,
Anything.
whatever. You know, and I'm like, I'm educated. You know, why can't I use this to make money? I used to be a banker as well, you know, and I traded. But I traded fixed income. I traded treasury bills, fixed deposits, bonds, and the rest. You know, or open market operations of the central bank. But I realized I did finance. I know finance, and somehow I'm not making money through finance. Rather, I have an engineering business. You know, how does that work? You know, so obviously I started getting concerned during COVID because I saw time passing by, and I basically gained no new skill. You know, just sitting
Yeah.
at home every day. So I was really concerned. So I started thinking, you know, how can I convert my education and skills into business? And in the
Right.
process, I now said, oh, wait, I studied finance. Then I remembered my brother in law. Every time I ask him, he says, what's your business? Every time I ask him, what's your business? He says, finance. And I'm like, finance? You
What?
know,
Yeah.
he never studied finance. He keeps saying finance, finance. Then immediately I quickly called him, you know, and I know he's always talking of Bitcoin, this and that, you know. So I
Mm.
called him up. I said, hey, that Bitcoin you're always talking about, your business, please tell me more about it, you know, because, you know, in the bank, they made us, how would I say, they brainwashed us into believing, you know, Bitcoin more like it's evil, in quotes.
Yeah, yeah, because
You get what I
it's
mean, you know?
decentralized, right? And they prefer
Yes,
centralized
it's
currency. Yeah.
decentralized. Yeah. So the bankers, obviously now, they are getting more open, you know, to the whole
Joining, regulating
decentralized,
part of it. Yeah.
you know, crypto and all that. But at that time, you know, they just made us believe it's just a no-go area. So because of that, I never thought out of the box for once. So then I asked him, like I said, I asked my brother-in-law, What is this crypto business you're always talking about? Then he started talking to me about crypto, this, that. He started explaining to me. Then I was like, okay, you know, immediately I started researching into crypto, and the next time I spoke with him, like 1 week after, I was already telling him his kind of terminologies and all that, you know. So I became so interested. So in the process of researching about crypto, I came to realize that the forex market is more mature. It's been there
Yeah,
for a long time. Crypto
I say
is
that too.
totally
Yeah.
yeah, crypto is totally new. There's so much volatility. The forex market is more mature. And of course, your risk of ruin is also lower if you play by the book.
Yeah.
Unlike crypto, you can just go in and you can get your hands burned very quickly. So at that point, I decided to switch to forex. You know,
Mm.
at that point, I was okay. You might say, "Oh, I'm a banker. I have the exposure to trading." Trust me, fixed income trading, which I had exposure to, is totally, totally, totally
Yeah.
different from forex.
Yeah,
There is
it's
just
different.
no comparison in any way whatsoever.
Mm.
I had to unlearn, what I
Mm.
knew and start to relearn. It's just like a baby.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just have to be open-minded, learn like a baby again, learn how to crawl, how
Yeah.
before you start walking. That's exactly what it was like. How would I put it? It was an eye opener, and it was humbling. It was a humbling
Mm.
experience. I thought, oh, I'm going to get this very quickly. After all, I'm a trader, but the forex market quickly tamed me.
It was, but it's a good thing though, because when you get humbled, that's when you become better. Because institutional hedge funds, proprietary trading, private, real prop, retail prop, they are all trading, but there are so many different ways to approach the market. There's not one way to skin the cat, as we always say. And the humbling aspect, which you said, and which is why you've overcome and done so well, is a very, very, very big thing. Because if you get humbled and you can accept the humbling and then put your ego aside and do it, that's when you win-win, right?
Yes, 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 exactly. So I got into, I started to run basically against time because this was like December, January of 2020. If
Right.
you remember, COVID had started since like March or thereabouts,
Yeah, and then we had our
February,
second
March.
lockdown, like the winter one was quite tough.
Exactly.
You was in
So I
London?
knew, yeah, I was in London at that
Yeah,
point.
that's
I
right.
came to London in September 2020.
Oh,
So in fact, I was supposed to have come to London in April, but 1 week before the lockdown, 1 week before my journey, the lockdown
where was you
happened.
before?
So
Dubai? Or
I was in Dubai, but I moved back to my country. So, okay, basically, I started my career in banking in Dubai. I went for a master's degree studies immediately after my undergrad.
wow.
So while I was doing my master's degree, I also started my career in banking, in the credit card
Ah, I see, I
department
see, I see.
of one of the banks in Dubai. Yeah.
And then you
So
moved because of the
yeah, then I
wife.
moved back
Yes.
to Nigeria where I worked for what you call the Bad Bank Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Basically, we're like a banking, you can call it a banking regulator, kind of. We're set up by the Ministry of Finance and the central bank to mop up all the non-performing loans in the banking sector. So
Right.
basically, we are like the live wire of the economy. All
Yeah, yeah,
loans.
yeah. Because you did the ministry, right? And then also your asset loaning. So you're pretty much people will come to
Indeed.
you either to deposit, loan, asset, or any sort of finance that they need. You're the
No, not necessarily.
would it not?
Basically, we mopped up the loans from the banks, and infused cash into banks that were non-performing in order not to create a bank run on the economy, you
Wow.
know.
Okay, I see. I see.
So
I see.
yeah, so we
So
mop up the
lifeline.
bad loans. Pardon?
Would it be right to say it's kind of like a lifeline then if you're putting in
Yeah,
money?
yeah, yeah. You can say it's a lifeline, but we take over those banks, and not just the banks, even companies, any critical sector of the economy that
Ah,
might
I
want to,
understand. I
yeah,
got you.
yeah,
I got
yeah,
you. Yeah, yeah.
aviation, oil and gas, whatever it is, we
Yeah.
take it over, put in new management, and then we try to revamp
Ah,
and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then we
That's a
sell
good
it,
business.
for yeah, yeah, something like that. So that was my job. So I worked, like I said, in fixed income department, there. So basically, while I started studying, okay, then I left I left the company and set up my own business. Because I was exposed to drilling. So in drilling, I work with multilateral institutions, UN agencies, local governments, and federal governments of both Nigeria and Cameroon. So basically, going back to the story of how I started forex. I started to study intensively during
Right.
that lockdown. This time I was in London. This was like January,
Got ya.
2021 now.
Mm.
So I realized, you remember you mentioned that the second lockdown, which was harsh,
Yeah.
yeah. So the second lockdown we were seeing signs of improvement. So I knew that very soon the lockdown would be over, and I didn't want to come out of the lockdown without a skill. you know,
Mm.
Again, because I was business minded, I didn't really want to go back into banking. I didn't want to do any job that will tie me down. And of course, the only other option in order to survive would be to do what you call unskilled labor. Yeah. So I had an option: is either I go back into banking in London, or I basically have my time back, and take up flexible kind of jobs. And I
Yeah.
decided to go the flexible way, which means I'm not earning income, proper, what you call a lot of income, and that I never knew that. I thought, obviously, when I saw YouTube videos and all that, I saw guys on YouTube, showing flashy cars and all that, and saying, "Let's get it, let's get it." Forex, stop playing with me, and all that. So I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be easy. I'm gonna be getting it soon."
I'm gonna get some money.
you know, and that was the beginning of my pain.
As all, do you know what? I laugh because we both had the same pain. We're like, yeah, this is easy. When's my Lambo coming?
Indeed,
Where's the money?
you know, indeed, So I thought, oh, within 3 months, 6 months, I'm going to be proficient. But I never knew that it was not a sprint. It's not going to be a
Mm.
sprint. It's going to be a marathon.
Marathon.
You know.
Come on, offer.
So yeah. So after that, I started studying. Basically, I was studying like a mad person. Really, I was studying like 18 hours a day. I was not sleeping properly. I was basically doing Asia, London, and New York session on demo.
I did the same. I
Till
did
I
the
got
same
sick.
thing.
Yeah. Because when I got sick, I started to slow down, by force.
I still kept going. I was writing all the
Yeah,
notes through Asians, all the notes through London, all the notes through New York, like the movements, the liquidity, time zones moving,
indeed.
strategy, back
Uh,
testing. I know the
Yeah,
feeling.
indeed. But the problem was because of the so-called YouTube, what will you call them now? I won't even call them role models, because
Yeah,
they're
I
not
guess
good role models. A
they
lot of
call them
them
like gurus or social influencers.
gurus,
It's
yeah,
just yeah, it's
true.
really difficult.
Because of the so-called gurus, who were like saying, just get into the market, just, they'll just put one support resistance there, and they said you just trade from there, let's
Good
get this
luck.
money quickly. So I started doing the same things they were doing.
Yeah.
I don't want to mention names. There's a guy who was talking about one candlestick strategy on the daily time frame.
Mm.
And I started to try to trade one candlestick without understanding what even a candlestick is. He says, once it's going up, I just buy. Once it's going, I see the candle going down on the daily, I sell. And I was doing the same thing, and I started losing money. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. On demo, 3 months into my journey, I put about I think about £400 or thereabout into the live account.
Right.
The funny part was I turned no about £300. I made a profit of 100% in within one day. So I thought, yeah, this is I'm good.
It's easy.
I over leveraged, obviously. I never knew anything about proper risk management, in terms of forex. Of course, because of my exposure in finance, I know what risk management is. But You can't call me. I mean, forex is a total different ballgame. I didn't know how to manage risk, and anything like that. So I was just over leveraging, and I quickly tried to withdraw. I think about half of the money or thereabout. Then I realized, okay, this is real,
Yeah, yeah.
and yeah, and obviously I traded the what's left of the money. I traded it. I lost the money.
Mm,
And then because I was not working, my business was not generating income in Africa. Basically I was broke.
mm,
So I started blowing accounts.
mm.
In fact, I can't count the number of accounts I actually blew in the process. But obviously because I had not a lot of funds, I was basically, it got to the point where I was basically opening $10 accounts, consistently.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
throw it in, I blow it. I throw it in, I blow it, just
Wow.
like that. And it's continued for a long time. What's now happened, and that's one thing I would want to draw people's attention to. People think the more money you have, the better you are going to be in trading. The truth is, if you do not have the skills, if you do
Mhm.
not have experience, if you do not have education, if you have $100,000, to spare, you will throw that $100,000 immediately into forex because the market is ruled by fear and greed. Most times you're looking at what you would possibly make, not necessarily,
Not to
thinking
lose.
about risking, 1 to 2% of your capital. So what I found out was that anytime I had £10, I throw it in. Anytime I had £1,000, I throw it in. Anytime I
Mm.
had £2,000, I throw it in. And that's how I continue to lose, consistently till I blew about probably close to £15,000. You know,
Oh, mm.
yeah.
But that's
So that's
sorry, go on.
yeah, yeah. So that was my exposure to forex, and I continued like that for about 1.5 years
Of
or
blowing.
thereabout. Yeah, yeah, 1.5 years. Of constantly blowing accounts. Then I saw the funded accounts. I
Yeah,
think at that point that was the time I came across FTMO.
yeah,
I came across my forex funds and the rest of them. But
yeah,
I was also I constantly, even till now, follow up with what's going on in the industry. I saw that there were tremendous changes. New firms, innovative firms like my funded effects.
yeah.
I knew that many of them were coming up. So I opened accounts with Blue FX, Trader Central Fund, and
Mm,
trust me, even with their own model, I blew it. I blew
yeah.
those accounts, and it was just a cycle going on, continuously till I blew about 10 funded accounts separate from the personal accounts I was blowing as well. Yeah. So that's basically a summary of my introduction.
Don't forget to cop your challenge for 10% off in the link in the description below, because don't forget we have no time limit. Balance days drawdown if you wanted to, 2-step or 1-step. We've got the new broker Avatrade or Think Markets, and also when you are getting your payouts, it is within 48 hours. So we say within 48 hours, but I got my 10k payout in less than 24 hours. So if you want to get started on your funding journey, link in the description below, and remember to use code WChampFX, or just use the link in the description below to support me. Let's get back to the video. I mean, I just want to highlight so many things because I love highlighting these things, because I feel like
Yeah,
it's good to highlight to you, because sometimes you live the story. Sometimes you forget, like someone doesn't say
yeah,
it to you, like, wow, like how far you've come. But I think what is a big testament that stood out to me is like your business mindset. In COVID, in lockdown, there are many people that just took that time to be lazy, to chill, to do. And do you know what I mean? Like, because you had nothing to do. You couldn't go outside, you couldn't even go for a walk. You couldn't just sit at home, play games, watch
that's
TV,
true.
get fat, or do whatever. But you specifically, right, you were like, I need to do something. So you were ingrained from the business mindset from the early days of hustling and hustling and hustling, and God shaped,
Yeah,
God or the universe or you, whatever you want to believe in, has shaped you to be like, I'm bigger than this, I'm better than this, I got to keep going and persevering and find new ways to provide for my
yes.
family and make things work. Right, you went from finance, you did engineering, and then I thought was really funny, you went from finance and into engineering. I went from engineering into finance.
Oh,
So we went
interesting.
we ended up in the same place, but
Yeah, yeah,
different
yeah, yeah,
different start. And
yeah.
you got such a strong mindset. So I think you're a happy guy like me. You laugh a lot, and it's really cool to see. And the blowing thing, I think you're probably one of the first like interviewees that talk about how much you've blown and blowing. But the blowing is such a common thing. Blowing
Yeah.
accounts, blowing your personal account, funded accounts, and all of those it always happens. And hit the nail on the head because I laughed and I loved it when you said it because I always say is more money is not going to make you more money. It's the skill. You could have a hundred
Yeah.
thousand. It's like winning lottery. People who win the lottery
Yes.
still go broke because they don't know how to make it, don't know how to manage it, they don't know how to invest it, they don't know what to do with it, they don't trust people with it, they just know how to spend it, you know?
Yes.
So it's a different story. But then I want to talk about blowing because we're on that subject. And I feel like this would be a really good topic to kind of go through when you let's go through the blowing and then after the blowing when you were blowing these accounts, what was you thinking, like, because you said £10, £1,000. I know this feeling very much like you because you believe that, for me, you believe that trading can work and you just keep trying and trying and trying and trying. So what was you
Yes.
thinking, like, why did you keep going, why did you not give up? What was the reason behind £10, £1,000, everything into trading?
Okay. First of all, as a business person or as a person with a business mindset, I
Right.
always try to go for businesses with exponential growth, not arithmetic growth. Arithmetic growth
Right.
is one plus one is two. Exponential growth, or compound growth, one plus one can be four, it can be five, it can be
Yeah, the
10. You
percentage,
know,
right?
exactly the percentage. So I know that the time when I get eventually good, it can take one trade, it can take two trades. Like I
Yeah.
got a payout of about 7,000 plus,
Yeah.
and I blew 15,000 over 1.5 years. If you look at
Wow.
the arithmetic,
50%.
in one trade, yeah, and I actually stopped. I just did one trade. That was my very first trade on the funded account, by the way. You know,
Wow.
so
And then withdraw
so
it.
if yeah, and I withdrew it. I just stopped trading quickly. I said I have to recoup at least
You
some.
stopped. So good. That was the lesson you learned. You stopped. You're just like, let me
Yeah,
give you that money.
yeah. I waited 2 weeks for my for my payouts.
I know the feeling. You have to wait. You're just like, come on.
Indeed, I didn't want to be tempted. Yes, I did 10% on the phase one in 2 weeks. The other 5% in 1 week. So I knew that I can do 15% in 3 weeks. Which I fund. I mean, my funded account is $200,000. If I've done that on the challenge phase, I knew I have the capability to possibly repeat it during the funded phase. But I also know the statistics because I follow what's going on.
It is very low, right?
Yeah, I saw the statistics which you put out in July, which said it's 80,000 people attempted the challenge.
Yeah, and about a
8,000
thousand.
people.
Yeah, it's about 8 to 10,000 people. So it's like a 10% pass rate. So really and truly, ninety
Just
percent of
about.
traders fail. It's true.
Indeed. And even among the funded traders, only a few make it to payout. So since I made the payout, I just decided to stop trading and recoup at least a little bit on my on the investments over the years.
Yeah,
So so that's what I did. So basically, what kept me going is because I know the possibility of forex. Again, remember, I've done conventional business. If you think forex is hard, go try conventional business.
yeah,
There is no business that is easy.
yeah.
That's just the truth of the matter.
Ooh,
You
I
know?
love that. Life isn't easy.
Yeah, exactly. There is
Yeah,
nothing easy. If you want to grow, join the top 5% in any economy, be it developing or developed, then you have to do something different. And obviously doing something different would mean not following the rat race, just like Robert Kiyosaki in his book Read That Pod That. You
mm,
have to probably own a business.
mm,
And now I looked at it. Forex gives me the propensity for exponential growth. So I don't care. Even if I continue to blow accounts for another 7 years, I know that in 3 months I could recover 1,000% once I get it right. You know, And with that knowledge, I kept going till this point, and certainly
Amazing.
I still keep going. Yeah,
I love that. You can
yeah,
tell he watches the interviews because I love how he's referencing books, he's spitting facts, he's got great mindsets. I love it, bro. Honestly, this is a great interview. And I love how you were referring to like the growth. I like how you thought arithmetic or the exponential, which is a great way to see trading because, like you said, I think a good summary is how I like to see things, or what you said is you only need to succeed once. Once you succeeded once, you just got it there. That's it. That pays for absolutely all of your failures and all of your mistakes from there, right? So let's
yeah.
go yet again on the blowing side of things. When you obviously when you kept going and going and going, what do you think was the turning point to stop you from blowing? Like, what was a few things maybe, or one thing? What comes out to you right now like that stopped you from blowing and got you your payout?
Yes, the pain of losing money. And again, you cannot
Mm,
continue to do the same thing and expect a different result.
Woo.
you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
realized, I listened to a lot of YouTubers, in the forex industry, and a lot of them used to emphasize risk management,
Yeah,
you know. And I realized, again, I think because of the kind of gurus I followed from the beginning, which stunted my growth in terms of education, I realized that I tried to trade like them. I tried to flip accounts,
right.
and I
Yeah,
kept blowing accounts. So, and of course, it's painful when you keep blowing, blowing, blowing. Sometimes, how do you explain this to your wife? She sees that you're doing the same thing and there's no income coming from it, you know.
yeah. No
So,
result.
I just could not keep up with blowing accounts. I just realized something had to change. So at that point, I started to listen more to the to I mean a lot of experienced traders who talk about risk management, and risk management trade changed the whole game for me.
Ooh, that's powerful. And I said this before, right? And you may or may not have heard this as well. I say you only really change in three circumstances: when you've had enough, the pain's enough, or joyous and excitement. Joyous and excitement is really
Yeah,
rare because it doesn't last very long. But when you've had enough, you're
yeah.
like, I'm sick and tired of this as enough, or when it hurts enough, you're like, it hurts so much. I don't want to be this person anymore. So that's powerful to hear you change from there. And then now you're getting your payouts that, that year and a half, 50% is recovered. You just need to do a few more, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
That's it. So let's now move on to the next step of this, which we'll talk about, I guess, the inspiring, and then talk about funded, and then we'll do charts. So in terms of learning and your goals, if you were to give some tips, what would be your, maybe let's top three or top two, whatever you think is valuable tips that would have got you to where you are faster? What would that be? I know you talked about risk management, but what else would there be that you would say to other traders or even a younger you?
Okay, the first thing will be proper education,
Okay.
because I realized very quickly that my education was deficient
Hmm.
because of the kind of people I was following. You know,
Hmm.
not that I did not know that I was supposed to get proper education, but sometimes when you're hampered, by probably by funds, you may not be able to buy courses that are worthwhile from reputable, institutions or traders, as the case may be. You may not be able, like me in my case, I couldn't afford it at that point in time.
Right.
So I knew the only route is to find freebies,
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
YouTube. But the problem with freebies is that it's just like a mass market. You see a lot of wrong things.
Hmm.
You attract adverse. I don't know the right word. You attract a lot of yes, just like I said, wrong. Wrong mentors, wrong gurus, and the rest of that. Being
Yeah.
able to sift through what is right and what is wrong, is a problem. So if I was to advise myself or advise a younger trader, I would say, get proper education. And getting proper education means trying to find the right mentor or the right teacher. Up till now, I've still trained myself, but it took me time to be able to realize what is right and what is wrong.
Mm.
Like, I will just give a tip quickly. I At a point when I kept losing and losing, from the so-called YouTube gurus,
Yeah.
I had to go back to Google and say, top three teachers on YouTube for forex. And it quickly brought up Reina Teo, number one, No Nonsense Forex, number two, and ICT, number three.
Mm.
So I said, okay, I saw forex traders talking about babypeeps.com. So I had to go back to babypeeps.com and start studying intensively. Then I started with Renatio, on YouTube. He's got a million, so I think over 1 million followers as at the last time I checked. He's quite good at that.
Yeah.
So I started studying in conjunction, but I tried to look at ICT and imagine me who was like a novice, like a baby in trading, and I saw the whole concept, the jargons and all that terminologies, professional terminologies, they were just too much for me to understand because I was even struggling to understand retail trading concepts. So I left ICT, and focused on trying to understand retail trading concepts. So if I was to advise anybody, I'll say, try to get a good mentor. It's going to shorten your curve in getting profitable.
Yeah, that's really, really. I like that. And then when you went back onto these kind of educations, I like to say went back to basics,
Yes.
and you learned from these three and these YouTubes and stuff. What are some of the things you've learned? Like maybe one, if you can think of one thing you learned in those, and it's like aha. Like what an aha moment did you have?
I would say the more I learned retail trading, the more confused I got.
Mhm.
You know, I think retail trading, all systems work. Just like
Yes. Yeah.
Animal
Yeah.
Farm. Just like if you, I don't know if you knew anything about literature. In Animal Farm, it says all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others.
Yeah.
In forex, it's the same thing. All systems work, but some systems work better than others. You
Mm.
know, um, I was struggling with retail trading concepts, with a myriad of concepts like moving averages, Fibonacci
Mhm.
trading, all sorts of concepts. I never just could get it. Maybe because of my personality, because I'm a little bit of an impulsive person. I like to, like get instant gratification. Again, beyond that, I also knew I think why I was not satisfied, yeah, this is the key. Why I was not satisfied with retail trading concepts was the moment I first opened the charts, I knew that there is a method to madness, you know, in as much as there is volatility, there is, the market moves in randomly. I knew that for people to be profitable, there must be a method. In other words, there must be an algorithm, and I decided to find a way to crack that algorithm. So, in the process of trying to crack the algorithm, retail trading just didn't make enough sense to me.
Mm.
Yes, I could. It's easy to follow rules. Retail trading teaches you patience, by the way, especially if you are trading on the higher time frames. But I knew that there is more to it. You just can't tell me to draw a support and resistance, and then when I draw the support and resistance, you say, okay, if it breaks support and then retest, then you take your trade. You know, no. Why should I draw a support and resistance? Why should I break support and then why should I come back? And why should the trade go from that point?
Yeah.
I knew that there's logic to madness and I just wasn't satisfied. And I think that also contributed to my blowing accounts because I was looking for something that just made sense.
Mm.
Just like you said, the question you asked, at what point did you get tired? Did I get tired? I got tired, because, but I was, in as much as I was tired, I was not satisfied,
Yeah.
you know. Um, at that point, I started to look, okay, I've learned a lot about retail trading concepts. It does not necessarily fit my personality. But beyond that, why does the chart work the way it works?
Mm.
There is something about this algorithm. People created it. As far as it's created, then there is a code to it to an extent, if not for anything. So I started watching a lot of trading interviews, especially trading nuts. That's another resource I'm going to recommend
Yeah, I love
for.
that. I was on that one as well. I love
Oh
Cam out there.
really?
Yeah, you watch it.
Oh really?
I think I've done 3. Yeah, I've just done a recent one as well, so watch it.
Really? Wow, I've not seen you. I will have to go back to to
Yeah,
watch.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or maybe I no, I've not. I'll have to go back. I've
Yeah, I'll send
watched
you
a
2.
lot of
There's 2 of them.
interviews.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. What episodes, if you don't mind?
Yeah, no, so we did one which did like 42K views. I think that was like how talking about my real estate business and how trading got into
Oh,
that. And I just did one recently, so it was only released like
oh,
2,
really?
3 weeks ago. So yeah, you should go and
Oh,
check it out. Yeah,
okay. Okay, I'll
yeah.
check it out. Yeah.
I'll
So
send
I
it to you.
watched a lot of trade. Okay. I watched a lot of trading note interviews, and at a point, I saw this ICT trader who said, "I'm ridiculous." That was the catchphrase of the video. ICT trader who says it's ridiculous or something like that. Okay, I now remember my Google search some months back which talked about Renato nonsense forex and ICT. I realized, okay, I followed Renato. Renato is kind of method is parallel. I mean, it fits with baby pips to a very large extent. It's just that it removes all the extra. It goes straight to the point. You know,
Nonsense, right?
so I know if the so I decided to watch that interview and the guy talked about how he also struggled, and then he just watched the market maker series of ICT, and he became ridiculous. For him to have such level of confidence, I said, I think it's now time to go back to ICT. And then I started to intensively study ICT, and I'm still studying. And it started to make a lot of sense.
Mm.
The funny part was as soon as I started studying ICT, I started to understand retail. I started to understand moving averages. I started to all the things that I was struggling with in retail started to make sense. You know,
Wow.
so just like I said, all systems work, but some systems work better than others. I know
Yeah.
this may ruffle some feathers, but the truth is, ICT works better than so many other systems.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, look, at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. I've never studied ICT, but I can say that I
Yeah,
can wholeheartedly, the proof is in the pudding. Look at how
yeah,
many successful traders have come from ICT. But,
yes,
all these other mentors, even myself, right? Like even I mentor. I guess I've got quite a few students who have been funded and whatnot, but the cult, as they say, for ICT is very strong, and there's a reason for that. Maybe the marketing was good, whatever it may be, but regardless of all of that, there have been a lot of profitable funded traders from ICT. So
yeah,
love it or hate it, you've got to give it props. And going on what you said about the animal, and I love that as well, because I really believe that all systems work. It's just the individual that doesn't. It's that what
yeah,
works for you. So what animal are you? You can't judge a monkey how high,
yeah.
how far it can
That's
swim, or a
true.
fish how high it can climb a tree. A fish is great at swimming, but it will die if it tried to climb a tree. A monkey's great
Yes.
at climbing, but can it swim very far, or can it, try and beat a crocodile in the water? They're just two different animals, two different environments, and two different situations, and completely different. So it's not apples for apples, as we say,
Yeah.
right? So,
I
mate,
totally agree.
this is some serious insight and a really really good interview so far, and I'm really enjoying it. So I really appreciate it. But to sum up before we go on to the next part, it's funded. What did you do with your first funded payout?
Yeah. My first funded payout, I still have some of it saved.
Yes, it's got money sitting there. Just careful. See, you got
Yes.
smarter risk management.
Yes, 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 yes. I knew that the summer months are usually sometimes, depending on the pair, sometimes it can be difficult trading, especially from my experience last year.
Yeah, it
So,
is.
yes, I knew there's a tendency to go into drawdown, especially as a trader with not too much experience. So I'm very, very cautious,
Just keep a
I'm
buffer.
currently in drawdown. Yeah, but I'm not even afraid because, my risk management is
It's
top
good.
notch, so I'm not bothered. And just like you said, just like we mentioned before, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about being on the leaders board. I'm concerned about being here in 20 years. you
Yeah,
know,
like it's always
yeah,
about the bank account. I always forget to people forget we're in
exactly.
this business not to be the best trader, to be the leader, to like all this blah
Yeah,
blah, like the clout or
true.
whatever. I'm here to make money. If you're making money,
Yes,
I'm making money. Who cares? We win win. You
yes,
make 10K, 5K, 100K, 1K, 2K. It doesn't matter.
yes,
Make money. bank account, look after yourself. My
Yes.
funded FX, how have you found it and would you recommend it?
Yes. Just before I answer that question, you asked
Yeah.
what I did with money. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So basically, I'm not really spending much of the money. I'm reinvesting. You have to
Oh,
reinvest
okay.
to grow, buy more funded challenges.
Oh,
And
okay.
then
Nice.
possibly my other conventional business. And things like that. So and obviously, is save for drawdown till at least I get to the point where I can conveniently say I have a lot of savings. In my bank account and I can do more. Yeah. And then you asked about my funded effects. My
Yeah.
funded effects changed or revolutionized, the industry.
Right.
Basically, I think even the so-called established institutions are playing catch up with, my funded effects. First of all, I would like to mention I love the sincerity and the exposure by done by the CEO Matt. You
Matt.
know,
Yeah.
um, a lot. I realized that it made us understand how uh, prop firms work, and with the way I came to realize, okay, this is not just a scam, it's a business, and he showed us the back end of the business,
Yeah.
that's one thing that attracted me. Secondly, my experience, with the payouts, especially with my funded FX, is been absolutely, great. Barely a day, I got my payout. Again, the trading platform has been top notch. I don't have issues. The spread is very thin. Which makes me take the kind of trades I take. I basically trade on the 1 minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, all the trades I took to pass both my challenge, even the profit I made from the funded accounts were, I think all of them were on the 1 minute, if I'm right.
Yeah.
So I think my funded FX with your broker, I think you're changing brokers now. I've not tried Think Markets,
Yes, we had
but
8 cap, Think Markets, and
it's
Average
got.
Trade. Think Markets is really good. I really enjoy Think Markets. If you think 8 cap's
Oh,
good,
okay.
Think Markets is better because
Oh,
I
really?
stopped. Yeah,
Wow.
I did not like.
Mm,
I know that we used them, but I'm honest. So if I didn't like it, I'm just going to say I don't like it. That is not bad,
mm,
and it's not the end of the world. But I would just
mm.
prefer to use Think Markets over 8 cap.
Oh, okay.
Now they've got
Okay.
Avertrade. So Avertrade is obviously one of the top 7 in terms of liquidity in actual
Yeah.
broker.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's going to be very very big
Yeah.
for my funded FX.
Yes. My experience has been great so far, and I'm
Awesome.
really enjoying it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very
Yeah, and
much.
my funded FX gave us this opportunity. I probably would have been trading small accounts and trying to flip. And now I'm blowing my accounts.
Well,
And
that's it,
again,
right? Yeah.
again, risk management. Because of the parameters. Which you have to stick to 5% drawdown. Daily drawdown, 8% total drawdown. It has helped me even in my personal trading. So I'm really enjoying the whole the platform which my funded FX has given us. Yeah.
Good. That's amazing. I mean, you're doing really, really well, and that's the like. If you want to trade with my funded FX, link in the description. I'm just going to quickly plug that, especially if you are now on your journey. What a strong mindset Oufa had in this interview. There was so much learning and earning, persevering, ups and downs, and I loved the section about the blowing accounts because there was honestly so much to learn and so much transparency. And alongside with that, I just generally love his attitude towards it. So it's super fun. So just to finish off this video, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Link in the description below to copy your challenge for 10% off, and we will see you in the next video. Champ out. Peace.